Stop. Do not scroll past this. This is not a coincidence. It is a divine appointment. The Creator of the universe has a specific, urgent message for you today that will change your destiny. If you believe that God can do the impossible in your life, hit that like button right now and type Amen in the comments to claim your miracle. Watch until the very end, because the blessing you've been crying for is hidden in these words. My beloved, I am calling out to you from the depths of eternity. I am asking you no. I am pleading with you to halt your frantic pace for just a fleeting moment. What I am about to unveil to your spirit is not a small matter, nor is it a random occurrence of fate. Deep within the architecture of your soul, there is a hidden treasure, something you have perhaps overlooked, dismissed as insignificant, or entirely forgotten amidst the chaos of your daily existence. This essence within you holds the keys to shifting the very trajectory of your life's path. I urge you, do not skim through these words. Do not set this message aside for a more convenient time, for the now is the only moment that matters. Stay with me. Allow my voice to permeate the walls you have built around your heart. Every syllable you receive here is designed to act as a spark, igniting the dormant power that has been waiting in sacred silence for your recognition. Do not rush away. What you are on the verge of discovering will not only reshape your self-perception, but will redefine your ultimate purpose and the glorious future that is already beginning to manifest before you. Come a little closer, my child. Let the rhythm of your heartbeat slow down. Let the anxiety that has been vibrating in your nerves find its rest in my presence. I want to speak to you with the gentleness of a summer breeze about a reality that has existed within you since before you were born. For so long, you have lived your life with your eyes turned outward. You have exhausted yourself trying to decipher the complex puzzle of your circumstances. You have spent sleepless nights trying to solve problems that felt too large for your hands. And you have strained to meet the crushing expectations that the world has placed upon your shoulders. You have analyzed every situation, scrutinized every person, chased every opportunity, and grieved every disappointment, as if the answers to your soul's questions were buried somewhere in the external world. I have watched your efforts with a father's compassion. I have seen the sincerity in your eyes as you tried to make sense of the winding, often confusing path you have walked. But hear me now. The most profound chapter of your story has never been written by external events. The power to transform your reality has always lived quietly within the sanctuary of your spirit, waiting for the precise second you would stop long enough to notice its glow. I placed this light within you with deliberate intention when I formed you in the secret place. It was never my design for you to find your meaning through noise, pressure, or the frantic rush of the world's demands. No, my child, this treasure is discovered in the hallowed silence, in those rare, quiet moments when your heart chooses to look deeper than the surface of human existence. I understand how easy it has been for you to neglect that inner sanctuary. The world you inhabit is designed to pull your gaze away from the center. There is a constant cacophony of voices telling you where to invest your energy, what version of success you should hunger for, and how fast you must run to achieve it. When you are submerged in that noise for too long, you begin to fall for the illusion that your life's meaning is somewhere far ahead of you, hidden behind the next milestone or the next achievement. But I am your creator, And I did not design your life to be an endless, exhausting chase. I did not hide your purpose in some distant land. I placed it much closer than you ever dared to imagine. It is woven into your very spirit, the place where my presence meets your essence in a way that no storm of life can ever disturb. Think back to those moments when your life seemed normal on the surface, yet something deep inside you felt unsettled. You couldn't quite put words to it. It was a lingering feeling that appeared when you were alone in the quiet of the night, or when you were gazing out at the horizon, pondering what lay ahead. It might have surfaced in the middle of a busy day, a sudden realization that there was more to your existence than the tasks at hand. That feeling was not confusion, and it was not a sign of failure. It was your spirit gently stirring. It was the deeper part of you calling out for your attention. I have been patient, my child. As you walked through seasons of searching and learning, I have never rushed your process. For I know that true discovery grows best when the heart arrives at it naturally, like a flower, blooming in its own time. Even now, as these words wash over you, can you feel that awareness sharpening? Can you sense the depth of your own life expanding? Do not hurry past this sensation. Sit with it. Let the realization wash over you. You are not empty. You are not an unfinished project. Within your heart, there is a place where strength, peace, and purpose coexist in perfect harmony. You don't have to build this place from nothing. It is a garden I planted at the moment of your creation, long before the world tried to tell you who you should be. Let me share something deeply personal with you, for I have been a witness to every tear you've shed and every silent battle you've fought. I know the path has been jagged and steep. I saw the seasons where your confidence faltered and you questioned if you had anything of value to offer. I saw you compare your journey to those around you, wondering why their road seemed paved with gold while yours was covered in thorns. In those moments, you believed something vital was missing from your life. But from my perspective, nothing was ever absent. What you were desperately searching for was already a part of your DNA. It simply hadn't been uncovered yet. Consider the life of a seed buried deep in the dark earth. To the casual observer, the ground looks barren and still. They see nothing remarkable. They might even assume that life has ceased to exist beneath the surface. But in the darkness, the most important work is happening. Roots are stretching, strength is gathering, and life is preparing itself to burst forth when the season is right. Your life has followed this exact pattern. There have been long stretches of time where your progress felt invisible to the naked eye. You wondered why your dreams were taking so long, but I saw your character forming. I saw your compassion deepening. I saw your resilience being forged in the heat of every challenge. You are standing at the threshold of a massive realization. Something inside you is waking up to the truth that your life holds a weight and a glory far beyond what you once believed. This discovery won't change everything in a single, loud instant. Instead, it will unfold gently, like the morning light gradually filling a room until every corner is bright. Once you become aware of what I have placed within you, you will begin to walk differently. You will move through the world with a steady heart, knowing you are not navigating this life empty-handed or alone. You carry an internal compass, a source of strength that will stabilize you when the ground beneath you begins to shake. I have always been near that inner place in your heart. When you turn inward with honesty, you will find me there, waiting to guide you. That is where our real conversation begins. That is where your true life starts to flourish. My child, draw even closer now, for I wish to lead you into the hidden hallways of your own being. There exists within you a sacred space that the eyes of the world can never perceive. It is not found in the symmetry of your features, the magnitude of your accomplishments, or the status you have worked so hard to maintain. It is a quiet inner realm where the frantic velocity of your thoughts finally begins to decelerate. It is a place where your deepest aspirations do not shout for attention, but rather whisper with a holy confidence. It is the room where the questions you have been too terrified to utter aloud gently rise to the surface, like bubbles in a still pool. Do not mistake this internal silence for emptiness. I have crafted this hidden sanctuary with the most intricate care. I designed it as a divine meeting ground, a place where your human spirit can commune with my eternal presence without the interference of the world's distractions. From the very moment of your inception, I planted seeds of infinite potential within this inner soil. These seeds were never meant to be dependent on your external circumstances, nor were they meant to be validated by the fickle approval of other people. Yet, as you navigated the journey of growing up and moving through the world, your focus naturally gravitated toward the horizon. You learned to decipher the complex codes of social expectations. You became a master at solving visible problems and chasing after the illusions of stability and security. None of this was a mistake. It was part of your earthly education. But while you were becoming an expert in the outer world, the inner world, the most vital part of who you are, remained a closed door, patiently waiting for your return. Think of this inner space as a room within your heart that has always been there. Its lamp lit and its fire burning, even when you were miles away. Perhaps you have walked past the door 1,000 times without turning the handle. Yet, there were moments when you felt a subtle pull, a mysterious curiosity that you couldn't quite explain. That curiosity was not random. It was a divine invitation. I placed that longing inside you because I knew that one day you would be ready to explore the vastness of what lies within. When you finally summon the courage to open that door, something breathtaking occurs. You begin to encounter aspects of your soul that were always present but never truly seen. You find that your capacity for understanding is deeper than any ocean. You discover that your patience is not a limited resource, but a wellspring that can be replenished. You realize that your compassion has the power to stretch across the globe. These virtues do check derive from the outside. They are the natural fruits of the life I planted inside you. Right now, in this very moment, I am asking you to perform a simple, sacred act. Take a quiet, intentional breath and allow the frantic machinery of your mind to come to a halt. Give yourself the rare permission to sit with your own heart without the urge to fix, analyze, or criticize anything. When you grant yourself this stillness, you begin to notice that your spirit has a profound depth that cannot be rushed. It is like a mountain lake. The longer you allow the surface to remain undisturbed, the clearer the water becomes. In this clarity, memories and realizations will begin to float to the surface. You might remember a small moment from your childhood that shaped your character more than any college degree ever could.
You might see a connection between a past struggle and a current strength.
These are not mere coincidences. They are the fragments of the divine puzzle I am helping you assemble. I have always been present in this hidden place. For years, you may have searched for me in complex philosophies or distant ideas, but I was always closer than your next heartbeat. When your heart becomes quiet enough to listen, my presence becomes impossible to ignore. Now, my child, let us speak of the most beautiful work that happens in the silence. The work of healing. Many in your world try to repair their broken lives by merely rearranging the scenery. They change their jobs. They end relationships. They buy new things. And they move to new cities, hoping that a change in the external will somehow mend the internal. But lasting peace and true restoration do not travel from the outside in. They grow from the inside out. I have seen every silent burden you have carried. I remember every night when you felt the cold weight of being misunderstood. I saw when disappointment settled into your bones like a persistent winter. You may have kept moving forward, keeping up appearances and fulfilling your duties. But inside, you carried 1,000 unanswered questions. Those experiences did not vanish just because the calendar pages turned. They remained within you, tucked away in the corners of your soul, waiting for the moment when they would be acknowledged with tenderness rather than suppressed with fear. The hidden sanctuary of your heart is the only place where this healing can truly begin. It is a judgment-free zone where you can bring your rawest, most honest thoughts. I invite you to walk into this space with me and hold nothing back. Speak to me about the failures that still haunt you. Tell me about the moments when you felt you weren't enough. Share the memories that still carry a sharp edge. When you bring these shadows into the light of our shared space, their power begins to dissolve. Healing is not a frantic sprint. It is a slow, rhythmic walk. It is a process that requires the patience of a gardener watching a seed grow. As you spend time in this inner sanctuary, the pain that once felt like a crushing weight begins to lose its density. The questions that once felt like a tangled web begin to unravel into simple truths. You begin to look at your past, not with the harsh eyes of a judge, but with the compassionate eyes of a witness. You start to see that every challenge you faced was a sculptor's tool, carving out the wisdom and resilience you possess today. You recognize that the difficult seasons were actually the times when your roots were growing the deepest. Trust this process, my beloved. Do not be discouraged if the transformation seems invisible at first. In the kingdom of the Spirit, the most important growth always happens in the dark, beneath the surface. Each time you return to this quiet place, you will find something meaningful waiting for you. Sometimes it is a sense of peace. Sometimes it is a new understanding. And sometimes it is simply the comforting warmth of knowing you are never alone. Let us talk about the iron within your soul. There is a strength inside you that has been forged in the fires of your experiences, a resilience that you have likely underestimated. Because you live your life day by day, moment by moment, it can be difficult to see the massive transformation that has taken place. You feel the fatigue of the struggle, but you often miss the growth of the muscle. From my perspective, I see the whole map. I remember the days when you thought you couldn't take another step, yet you did. I saw the hesitation in your heart when you faced a giant, yet you didn't run. You might think you moved forward simply because you had no other choice, but I tell you that you moved forward because of the quiet power I placed within you. Every responsibility that tested your patience, every misunderstanding that challenged your ego, and every loss that broke your heart was actually an opportunity for your spirit to expand. I invite you to look back at your history with a new set of eyes. Look at the moments when you were stretched to your absolute limit. See how those experiences did not break you, but instead made you more flexible, more durable, and more capable of holding the weight of your future. This resilience is not just for your own survival. It is a tool for your purpose. Many believe that confidence is something you must feel before you can act. But the truth is, confidence is a harvest that grows from the seeds of your actions. When you realize that you have already survived the unsurvivable, a new kind of boldness begins to take root. You stop fearing the future because you have already conquered the past. You are not starting from zero. You are building on a foundation of proven strength. My child, the journey ahead is not a solitary one. You were never meant to carry the world on your shoulders. The quiet voice you hear in the silence is my guidance, a partnership that aims to lead you into a life of abundance. As you learn to recognize this voice, the noise of the world will lose its power over you. You will no longer be pushed by the pressure of others. You will be led by the peace within. Protect this inner quiet as if it were the most valuable treasure on earth. Because it is. It is the birthplace of your ideas, the cradle of your peace, and the source of your power. Return here often. Let the world wait while you and I converse in the secret places of your heart. My child, we must speak of a shadow that has followed you for many years, a shadow that has darkened the vibrant colors of your own journey. I have watched you stand in the marketplace of human life, looking at the milestones of others and feeling as though your own path was somehow lacking. You have observed their achievements, their public accolades, and the apparent clarity of their direction, and in the quiet of your mind, you whispered the devastating question, why am I not there yet? Why does my story feel so much smaller? I saw those thoughts as they drifted through your consciousness like heavy clouds blocking the sun. I saw the moments when you measured the depth of your soul against the surface-level highlights of someone else's life. You allowed the words of critics and the silence of the indifferent to define your value. But hear me now, my beloved. The image you have formed of yourself during those seasons of doubt was a mirage. It was a fragmented picture built from the dust of temporary experiences, rather than the eternal diamond of your true identity. I want you to understand a fundamental truth of the universe. I never used the scales of the world to measure your worth. When I first breathed life into your lungs, your value was established in the heavens. It was not a status you had to earn through a lifetime of labor. It was a birthright given before you ever took your first steps upon the earth. Your life carries an infinite meaning simply because you are. You exist. You are a thought of mine that became flesh. You were not required to prove your significance by scaling mountains of achievement or by collecting the fickle approval of a crowd. Take a slow, deep breath right now. Feel the air enter your lungs that is my gift to you. Let the tension in your shoulders dissolve. Ask yourself, when did I start believing that my worth was a prize to be won rather than a reality to be recognized? Somewhere along the winding road of your journey, you adopted the lie that you were only as good as your latest success. The world reinforces this every hour. But I am here to dismantle that lie, piece by piece. I created you with an intentionality that defies human logic. I placed within you a specific combination of qualities that exists nowhere else in the vastness of my creation. Your unique perspective, the specific way your heart breaks for the suffering of others, the rhythm of your personality, and even the way you process your failures. All of these form a divine mosaic that belongs to you alone. When you overlook your own worth, you are essentially overlooking the craftsmanship I invested in you. I want you to start seeing yourself through my eyes. Instead of hunting for what is missing, begin to observe the quiet, powerful ways your presence affects the world around you. Think of the times when your words were a bandage for someone else's hidden wound. Remember the moments when your quiet patience stabilized a chaotic room. Recall the small acts of kindness you performed when you thought no one was watching. Those moments are the true measurements of your life's impact. They reach far beyond the metrics of the world. I am inviting you into a practice that may feel foreign to you at first. The practice of divine kindness toward yourself. You are often so generous with your compassion when it comes to others, yet you are a harsh taskmaster when it comes to your own soul. When a friend stumbles, you offer a hand. When you stumble, you offer a lecture. I want you to offer the same mercy to the person in the mirror that you so freely give to the world. When your thoughts begin to drift toward the jagged rocks of self-judgment, pause and reconsider the story you are telling yourself. Ask if those harsh words truly reflect the heart of your Creator. Most often, they are merely echoes of past disappointments, ghosts of old failures that no longer have a right to live in your house. Replace the language of not enough with the language of becoming. Acknowledge the distance you have traveled. Celebrate the resilience you have forged. Your worth does not diminish during seasons of uncertainty or rest. You are just as valuable in the valley as you are on the peak. Now, let us turn our attention to the small, steady flame that flickers at the center of your spirit. You have noticed it, haven't you? Even in the seasons when you felt completely exhausted, even after the heaviest disappointments, there was something inside you that refused to surrender. There was a tiny voice that kept whispering, "This is not the end. There is more to the story." That whisper is not just a human emotion. It is the hope I planted in the bedrock of your spirit. Hope is not a fragile feeling that disappears when the sun goes down. It is a deep underground current that flows beneath all your experiences. It was designed to be your compass in the dark. A traveler doesn't need to see the entire mountain range to keep moving. They only need to see the next few feet illuminated by their lamp. Hope is that lamp. Think of the times when you thought you had reached the absolute end of your strength. You felt as though the weight of the world had finally crushed your spirit. Yet, the next morning, you woke up. You engaged in conversation. You performed small acts of duty. You took one more step. Those were not just habits. They were the quiet miracles of hope. Hope encourages movement when doubt demands stillness. Hope invites you to imagine a future that is not a carbon copy of your past. I want you to respect this hope. When it tells you that something meaningful is still unfolding, do not dismiss it as a fantasy. Listen to it. It is one of the primary ways my presence nudges you toward your evolution. It is the bridge between the person you were and the person you are becoming. My child, the world you live in has become an ocean of noise. Every day, you are bombarded by 1,000 different voices, all competing for the throne of your attention. Some of these voices come through the people in your life, others through the digital streams that flood your mind, and still others from the expectations of a society that never stops demanding more. When the noise becomes this loud, it is difficult to hear the one voice that truly knows your name. Yet, even in the middle of the cacophony, I have been speaking to you in the language of peace. My voice does not scream. It does not pressure. It does not overwhelm. It is a calm clarity that rises when the external noise is silenced. This is why you feel that unusual sense of relief. When you step away from the distractions, when you walk among the trees, or when you sit in the silence of the early morning, that shift is your spirit reconnecting with its source. I want you to become a guardian of your own quiet. Do not let the world steal every minute of your day. Practice the art of the pause. Step away from the screens. Lay down the problems that you are trying to solve with your own limited logic. Let your thoughts settle like silt at the bottom of a clear lake. When the surface of your mind is calm, the reflections of truth become visible. You will find that the guidance you have been searching for was already there, hidden beneath the waves of your anxiety. My direction often arrives as a knowing, a sense of alignment that tells you which way to turn. The more you practice this stillness, the easier it becomes to hear my voice in the middle of a crowded room. Your life was never meant to be a chaotic reaction to the noise around you. You were designed to move with the rhythm of grace. My beloved, let us pause and reflect upon the iron that has been forged within the furnace of your spirit. There is a strength inside you that is not merely a product of your own willpower, but a divine deposit that has been growing quietly through every season of your life. You may not always perceive it clearly, for you are living within the day-to-day reality of your own story, feeling the weight of each individual challenge as it arrives. When you are in the thick of the battle, it is difficult to see the muscles of your soul expanding. Yet, from my vantage point, I see the entirety of the path you have traversed. I have stood as a silent witness to the tempests that have battered the shores of your soul, observing with a father's watchful eye as you navigated the treacherous waters of uncertainty. I remember the moments when the gravity of your circumstances felt as though it would pull you under. I saw the hesitation in your thoughts and the tremor in your heart when the road ahead disappeared into the fog. Despite those feelings, you kept your feet moving. You may believe your progress was born of necessity, but I tell you it was born of a resilience I planted within you long ago. Think back to the seasons when life demanded more of you than you felt capable of giving. You encountered responsibilities that required the patience of a saint and the endurance of a marathon runner. You navigated misunderstandings that tested the very foundations of your character. You carried emotional burdens in the dark that you never shared with another living soul. During those stretches of time, it likely felt as though you were simply surviving enduring a hardship that had no purpose. But I want to shift your perspective. Every step you took during those grueling seasons was an exercise in building a character that cannot be easily shattered. Resilience is rarely born in the sunlight. It is cultivated in the shade. It develops gradually, through the lived experience of choosing to rise when the world expects you to stay down. When you look back with clarity, you will see that the qualities you value most in yourself today, your empathy, your wisdom, your unwavering grit, were all birthed in the very moments you once labeled as failures or wasted time. I know the human heart craves certainty. You want to see the entire map before you agree to leave the harbor. You want to guarantee that the destination will be worth the fuel you expend on the journey. I understand this desire for safety, for the unknown can feel like a vast, hungry void. However, the path of spiritual growth and divine purpose rarely reveals itself in its entirety at the beginning. It is a path that is illuminated one step at a time. Imagine walking through a dense forest at midnight, holding a small lantern in your hand. That lantern does not show you the mountain peak miles away, nor does it reveal the river you will cross tomorrow. It only illuminates the patch of ground directly beneath your feet. But if you trust that small circle of light and take one step, the light moves with you. It reveals the next step and the one after that. This is the essence of trust. You do not need to solve the puzzles of next year. You only need the courage to take the single step I am illuminating for you today. My child, there is a specific kind of bravery I am calling you toward. The courage to be your true self in a world that rewards masks. For too long, you have lived behind a curtain of shoulds and musts, trying to blend into the scenery so as not to draw the wrong kind of attention. But I did not create you to be a shadow. I created you to be a light. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate expression of strength. It takes no effort to hide behind a wall of perfectionism, but it takes immense courage to show the world your scars and say, "This is who I am, and I am still growing." When you embrace your own humanity, you create a permission slip for everyone around you to do the same. Your willingness to be honest about your struggles is often the very thing that will give someone else the hope they need to keep breathing. You were never designed to be an island, solitary and disconnected. The light I placed within you was meant to interact with the lights of others. I want you to notice how your perspective changes when you view your interactions through the lens of purpose. Every conversation is a seed. Every act of listening is a drink of water for a thirsty soul. When you begin to hear my voice more clearly, your sense of direction will shift. Instead of feeling pushed by the demands of the world, you will feel led by the pull of love. You will find that your strength is multiplied when it is used to lift another. Do not fear that you will run out of energy or compassion. The more you give from the well of my spirit, the more the well is replenished. This is the divine economy you gain by giving, and you find your life by losing it in service to something greater than yourself. My child, as you feel the warmth of my words beginning to thaw the frozen places of your heart, Remember that this transformation is in and of they, not for you alone. There are millions of my children wandering in the dark, believing they are forgotten, feeling the same crushing weight you once felt. I am using this message to reach across the digital void, to find the wounded and the weary, and to bring them home to my peace. If your spirit feels a stirring to participate in this work, do not ignore it. When you support the sharing of these words, whether through your prayers, your engagement, or your generosity, you are sowing seeds in a field that spans the entire earth. You are providing the oil for the lamp that keeps this light burning for those who are still lost. I have promised that those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Your contribution is not a transaction. It is an act of faith that echoes into eternity. I will guard what you release and multiply the blessing that follows your obedience, pouring favor back into your life in ways you cannot yet see. I invite you to do something radical today. Let go of the story you have been telling yourself about who you used to be. You are not the person who failed 5 years ago. You are not the person who was rejected by someone who couldn't see your value. You are a new creation, being renewed day by day in the image of your Creator. Many people spend their entire lives looking in the rearview mirror, trying to drive forward while obsessing over the mistakes behind them. This only leads to a collision with the present. I have already forgiven your past. Why haven't you? My grace is not a limited resource that runs out after a certain number of errors. It is an ocean that covers every jagged rock in your history. Leave the past in the depths. Turn your eyes toward the horizon. There is a new dawn waiting for you, and it is brighter than anything you have left behind. As we move forward together, I want you to pay attention to the language of your heart. Your heart speaks in feelings of peace, in sudden bursts of inspiration, and in the quiet knowing that comes when you are in alignment with my will. The world speaks in the language of urgency and fear, but I speak in the language of eternity and love. Learn to translate the nudges of your spirit. When you feel a sudden urge to call a friend, to start a new project, or to simply be still, that is often me whispering the next chapter of your story. You don't have to be perfect at listening. I am a patient teacher. Just remain open. Keep your heart soft. The transformation I am performing in you is a masterpiece in progress, and I am in no rush to finish it. We have all of eternity to walk this path together. My child, come and sit within the counsel of my presence once more. We must speak of a power I have bestowed upon you that is both a magnificent gift and a solemn responsibility. Within the garden of your life, I have placed the steering wheel of choice. Every day, from the moment your eyes open to the light of dawn, until they close in the soft embrace of sleep, you are navigating a river of decisions. Some of these choices appear as small ripples, while others are great currents that shift the very geography of your destiny. I know that the weight of decision-making can often feel like a crushing burden. You fret over the possibility of a wrong turn. You paralyze yourself with the fear of missing a perfect opportunity that may never come again. But I want you to look at your choices through the lens of grace. Your life is not a fragile glass sculpture that shatters with a single misstep. It is a living, breathing story that we are co-authoring together. Each choice is a stroke of the brush upon a canvas that is vast enough to absorb every mistake and turn it into a part of the masterpiece. I have watched you, my beloved, as you have struggled to maintain absolute control over every outcome. I see you at 3 in the morning, your mind a whirlwind of calculations, trying to figure out how to force the pieces of your life into the shape you desire. You worry about the bank accounts, the stability of your career, and the complicated hearts of the people you love. You are exhausted because you have been trying to be the god of your own universe, carrying a weight that was never designed for human shoulders. I am your creator, and my shoulders are broad enough to carry the constellations. Why do you insist on straining under a load that I have already offered to take? The exhaustion you feel is a signal, a divine alarm bell, telling you that you are operating out of your own limited strength rather than my infinite supply. I invite you to open your clenched fists, let go of the need to know the how and the when. When you surrender the illusion of control, you don't lose your power. You gain mine. You step out of the frantic stream of human effort and into the deep, steady ocean of divine orchestration. Do not think for a moment that I have left you as an orphan in this complex world. I have not merely given you a map and sent you on your way. I have given you the ultimate gift, my very essence, the Holy Spirit, to dwell within the sanctuary of your soul. This is the indwelling counselor, a treasure of supernatural wisdom that resides closer to you than your own breath. This presence is not a distant, abstract force. It is a living, breathing guide that speaks in the quiet nudges of your intuition and the sudden flashes of clarity that illuminate your path. When the world screams in 1,000 different directions, the Spirit whispers the truth. When you are faced with a hostile environment at work or a fractured peace at home, you have direct access to a wellspring of infinite patience and perfect understanding. You are a walking temple of the divine. Everywhere you go, you carry the atmosphere of heaven within you. Start tapping into this internal resource. Stop asking the world for answers that I have already placed in your heart. My child, you must recognize that you are walking through a world that is often shrouded in shadows. Every morning, before you step out into the noise, a spiritual battle for your peace begins. The enemy of your soul is a master of whispers, planting seeds of dread, inadequacy, and fear before you've even had your first cup of coffee. He wants you to walk into your day unprotected, vulnerable to the arrows of comparison and the stings of rejection. I command you to clothe yourself in the armor of light. This is not heavy metal that weighs you down. It is a spiritual frequency that lifts you up. Fasten the belt of truth around your identity, the truth that you are my cherished child, regardless of your productivity. Don the breastplate of righteousness to guard your heart against the toxic opinions of others. When someone tries to make you feel small, let their words bounce off the reality of who I say you are. Wear the helmet of salvation to protect your mind from the spiraling thoughts of anxiety. You are a warrior of the Spirit, and you do not have to fight for victory. You are fighting from a victory that has already been won. Let us speak of the hidden corners of your soul, the places where clutter has gathered over the years. I see the idols you have unknowingly built. The idol of financial security, the idol of people-pleasing, and the idol of being right. These are heavy, dusty statues that promise you peace but only deliver more anxiety. You worship them because you think they will keep you safe, but they are actually the very things keeping you trapped. I am inviting you into the refining fire. Do not be afraid of the heat, for it is not meant to consume you. It is meant to purify you. In the fire, the dross of pride and the impurities of bitterness rise to the surface so that they can be skimmed away. It stings to admit your flaws. It hurts to let go of a grudge you've nursed for a decade. But on the other side of that refining is a heart that is soft, resilient, and capable of reflecting my glory like a polished mirror. I want to give you an undivided heart, a heart that isn't pulled in 100 different directions by the world's demands, but is anchored firmly in my love. My beloved, I see you wandering through the parched deserts of modern life, desperately looking for something to satisfy the deep ache in your spirit. You drink from the wells of social media validation, but they leave you thirstier. You drink from the wells of material accumulation, but the water is salty and bitter. You are spiritually dehydrated, and your soul is cracked and dry. I am the fountain of living water. I am not offering you a tiny sip to get you through the hour. I am offering to turn your very life into an artesian well. When you drink from my presence, the thirst for the world's approval begins to vanish. You no longer need to beg for scraps of attention when you have an ocean of divine love flowing through your veins. Come to the river. Let the water of my spirit wash away the toxins of stress and the grime of the world's cynicism. Become an oasis in a barren land. Let your joy be so unexplainable that people stop you in the street to ask where you found such a spring. I know about the wounds you hide under your professional attire and your social smiles. I know about the betrayals that made you vow never to trust again. I see the trauma that you've tried to bury under a mountain of busyness. You think that if you ignore the pain long enough, it will eventually disappear. But pain that is not transformed is always transmitted. I am the great physician, and I am asking for permission to touch those tender places. I don't come with judgment. I come with the soothing oil of grace. I want to bind up the broken pieces of your history. I want to heal the scars of your childhood and the fractures of your failed relationships. You are not damaged goods. You are a masterpiece in restoration. The very places where you were broken are the places where my light will shine through most brilliantly. Do not be ashamed of your scars. They are the proof that you survived, and they are the platform from which you will help others heal. My child, look toward the horizon. Can you see the first hints of the dawn? You have been in a long night, wrestling with shadows and waiting for an answer that seemed to be delayed. But I tell you, the delay was not a denial. It was a season of preparation. The breakthrough you have been crying out for is not just a change in your circumstances, it is a change in you. You are becoming a person who can handle the weight of the blessing that is coming. You are developing the character, the humility, and the wisdom to stewarding the influence I am about to give you. Do not give up now. Do not let your heart grow weary when you are so close to the finish line. The atmosphere is shifting. The doors that were locked are beginning to creak open. Stay in the place of prayer. Stay in the place of praise. The roar of the breakthrough is already echoing in the spiritual realm. Can you hear it? It is the sound of your victory. My beloved child, we must now enter the deepest chamber of our conversation, the place where you keep the things that have caused you the most agony. I see the heavy, dark shadows of bitterness that you have allowed to settle within your spirit. I know exactly who carved the wounds into your soul. I was there when you were betrayed by the one you trusted most. I saw the coworker who built their success on the ruins of your reputation. I have felt the cold sting of the rejection you face within the very walls of your own home. You have held on to these grievances like a shield, believing that your anger is a form of protection or a way to punish those who wronged you. But I must speak a hard truth to you today. That bitterness is not a shield. It is a slow, acting poison. You are drinking from a cup of resentment and waiting for your enemies to fall, but the only person being consumed by the toxins is you. I am calling you to drop the cup. I am commanding you to release the weight of the past so that you can finally breathe the air of the present. You tell me that it is impossible to forgive. You point to your scars and say, "Lord, they don't deserve my mercy." And you are right. Mercy is never something that is deserved. If it were earned, it would be a wage, not grace. You did not deserve the ocean of forgiveness I poured over your head, yet I gave it to you freely. I am asking you to extend that same supernatural grace to those who have fractured your peace. I am the righteous judge, the only one with the wisdom to balance the scales of eternity. Why are you exhausting yourself by trying to play the role of the judge and the jury? That heavy gavel of judgment does not belong in your trembling hands. It belongs in mine. I see every hidden injustice, and I promise you that no act of darkness goes unnoticed. But for you to be healed, you must step off the bench. You must cancel the debt. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did was acceptable. It means that you are no longer willing to let their actions hold your future hostage. I am calling you to a high and holy vocation, the ministry of reconciliation. The world is obsessed with building walls of division, creating us and them, and fueling the fires of tribalism. But you are my ambassador, and your tools are not bricks and mortar for walls, but wood and nails for bridges. I want you to become a person who radiates a peace so profound that it confuses the angry and softens the hardened. The person who irritates you most is often the one who is suffering the most. The coworker who undermines you is likely drowning in their own sea of insecurity. The family member who lashes out is reacting to a wound they haven't allowed me to touch. Learn to look past the behavior and see the soul. When you respond to hostility with a gentle spirit, you are performing a miracle. You are breaking the cycle of pain. You are showing them a glimpse of my face. This is how you win the war, not by conquering people, but by conquering the darkness within them through the power of love. My child, there is a thick fog that often settles over your life, making you feel as though you are lacking, as though you are constantly behind, as though my blessings have passed you by. This fog is created by the spirit of comparison and the weight of pride. You look at what you don't have and you forget what I have already provided. You focus on the closed doors and ignore the air in your lungs. I'm calling you to build an altar of thanksgiving in the middle of your day. Gratitude is the most powerful weapon against the spirit of depression. When you begin to count your blessings, the small, ordinary miracles, like a warm meal, a roof over your head, the laughter of a child, the fog begins to lift. Pride says, I deserve more. Gratitude says, I am overwhelmed by the gift of now. I command you to rejoice always, not because your circumstances are perfect, but because I am perfect. Even in the valley of shadows, you can give thanks, for I am walking right beside you. Do not fall into the trap of believing that this earth is your final destination. I see you laboring as if you are building an eternal empire in a land that is fading away. You fret over your social standing and your material accumulation, as if these things can cross the threshold of eternity. But you are a pilgrim, my beloved. You are a citizen of a kingdom that is not made of dust and stone. Start living with eternity stamped upon your eyelids. When you view your life through the lens of 1,000 years from now, the problems of today begin to shrink to their true size. The promotion you missed, the slight you suffered, the car that broke down, these are but whispers in the wind of eternity. Focus your energy on the things that last: faith, hope, and love. Invest in people, not just property. Spend your time building a character that will shine like the stars when the sun finally sets on this world. My child, we are coming to a pivotal moment. I have spoken to you of your worth, your healing, and your power. Now, I am asking you to put that power into motion. The transformation I am performing in you was never meant to be a private treasure. It is a light that must be set upon a hill. Across this world, there are hearts crying out for the very peace you are now discovering. They are drowning in the noise, and they need a lighthouse. I am inviting you to partner with me in this great rescue mission. When you share the truth, when you support the spreading of this message, and when you live a life of radical generosity, you are casting a net into the deep. You are providing the manna for the hungry and the water for the thirsty. Do not let your hands be closed by fear. I have promised that if you give, it will be poured back into your lap, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Your seeds of faith are what keep the oil in the lamp, ensuring that the voice of hope reaches the ends of the earth. You are standing before the door of a new beginning. Behind you is the person you used to be, the one defined by anxiety, limited by past failures, and weighed down by the world's labels. In front of you is the person I created you to be, the warrior, the healer, the light bearer. The door is open, and I'm standing on the other side, holding out my hand. You do not need to be perfect to walk through this door. You only need to be willing. The past is finished. The old stories have been burned in the fire of my grace. Take the step. Walk into the life of purpose that has been waiting for since the foundations of the world. Do not look back at the prison of your comfort zone. The air is sweeter out here. The horizon is wider. The joy is deeper. Chapter 46. The Everlasting Benediction. Now, as we conclude this part of our journey, let my peace settle over you like a warm mantle. You are my most precious creation. I have carved your name into the palms of my hands. I will never leave you, and I will never let you go. My strength will be your fuel. My wisdom will be your map. My love will be your home. Go out into the world today with your head held high. You are a child of the King, an heir to the heavens, and a light in the dark. The journey ahead is filled with glory, and I am with you every step of the way. You are loved. You are chosen. You are mine. Amen.